Hello, everybody. Welcome to this breaking news edition of AMA Air. We've got some breaking news on the forthcoming knowledge and safety test requirements that from the FAA that just broke just minutes ago. So stick around. We've got Tyler Dobbs here to talk all about it. So stay tuned for this breaking news edition of AMA Air. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to this breaking news edition of AMA Air. It's very last minute. I hope you guys were able to tune in live with us to ask questions and whatnot. And we've got a special guest here on the show, Tyler Dobbs, our government affairs director, to talk to us about this breaking news that just came out from the FAA. Tyler, thanks for joining us here on the show.
Hey, Matt, thanks for having me, and thanks for putting this together so quickly. But I know that the knowledge and safety test is something that's on a lot of members' minds, and so we wanted to come in as quickly as we could and take care of any confusion that may be out there and any questions. So as you mentioned earlier, not a lot of notice on this one, but the video will be active and people can watch it and maybe get the correct information.
Absolutely, and of course, we'll take you through what we know so far. But for those watching, in the future, if you're watching after we've been live, modelaircraft.org/gov is the place you'll want to go after you've watched this video to see any current up-to-date information. But let's jump right in, Tyler. Like I said, this information just came out about a half an hour ago, I think, is what you said, maybe an hour. So kind of walk us through what we know about the knowledge and safety exam requirements, I guess, that are going to be coming in the future.
So what we got today was information out of the FAA, and really it was directed towards those organizations that want to be testing administrators. It doesn't, I guess I'll start out by saying this doesn't change what the user does, what the recreational operator does anytime soon, at least. This is the next part of the process in regards to the testing requirement that was laid out in October of 2018 when FAA reauthorization took place. Congress told the FAA that they are now required to administer or designate people to administer a knowledge and safety test to recreational users. And since we obviously represent a majority of those recreational users or operators, we wanted to be at the forefront of that. And we worked with the FAA from day one, hosting the very first UAS stakeholder roundtable back in April of 2019. That kind of kicked this testing requirement off. Some of the things we were hearing out of the FAA and from others in the industry is that, look, we have Part 107 test. That's a 60-question multiple choice test that pulls information pretty much directly from the manned aviation test. Let's start with that as a basis. And we said, hold on, guys. We have a lot of newcomers that pick up this hobby every day, and we don't want to deter them with a test like that. So we started working with others in the industry and the FAA, as I mentioned, and was able to advocate and get that test reduced to where now it's going to be a much less high of a hurdle to cross. We call it a test. I would tend to call it more training, in all honesty. If you sit down and go through the process, you will pass this with 100%. It's multiple choice. It does lead you in the direction to get the correct answer in the test. The administrators, as listeners or watchers may go through some of the requirements to administer this test. Those that administer it can't make changes to the questions or some of the FAA content, but we are able to add our additional content if we'd like. So we'll be able to customize that, to different users. One of the big things that we fought for from the very beginning was that AMA didn't want an additional fee associated with this test. We already have FAA registration. We're going to soon have remote ID, which if you're flying at a fixed flying site, maybe isn't going to be an additional cost, but if you have to have a broadcast module, it will. we didn't want groups to come in and say, okay, we're going to administer a test and we're going to charge $100 to take this test. We didn't want to see those types of things. So that was probably one of the largest things we advocated for. And in the requirement, if you want to give this test to a recreational user, you have to be able to provide it for free. So that's certainly good news. It's not a lot of burdens to overcome. We're just, as you mentioned, this has only been out 20 or 30 minutes, so we're just going through the document now, but it looks like it's about 15 pages. It goes over what the data storage requirements are, how you're going to secure privacy information regarding how the users need to take the test and how long to store that data and so forth. So we're going through those types of information right now, and we'll be updating our members as soon as possible. We have an outline right now on our blogs, and I think we post it to social media, and members will likely see an email probably within an hour or two, given some more details. But just want to stress that, we know this is going to be a new requirement that everybody will need to do. Probably sometime in 2021 is when this will be rolled out. But don't panic. We've taken the necessary steps to make this as easy as possible for the user. If you sit down to start the test and you go through the process, you will pass this test with 100% success rate. So no panic there. And AMA will obviously be there to help users through every part of it. If you have any questions or issues logging on, those types of things, we'd be happy to help.
And again, I think it's important to emphasize the information that came out today doesn't really pertain to the end user. This is all going to be about the organizations and groups that are going to administer the test. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And what it does do is it shows that the FAA is still on track to roll this out. Right. We did expect this test, in all honesty, to be out by now. So we're a little surprised it got hung up as late as it did. For those of you who read the blogs on a regular basis, you've kind of seen that regular update on the safety and knowledge test. For those of you who didn't, I recommend you visit AMA Gov blogs and get those updates. But regardless, the FAA is moving forward with it. We did expect this to be in an advisory circular that's currently, or was an OMB, which included the recognition for community-based organizations like AMA. The FAA has decided to push the knowledge test outside of that advisory circular and move things forward so they could get it out quicker. So I would expect users to continue hearing updates on this testing requirement. While this newest email doesn't pertain to anything that really they're concerned with, it's more on the administrative side. They should expect emails in the coming weeks or months regarding their requirement to take this test.
There's an interesting question that I'm sure probably quite a few people are going to have in the comments here. Chris Walensky asked if I'm Part 107 certified, do we still need to take this test? Is there an answer to that question yet?
Yeah, you will. If you're a commercial airline pilot, I've said in the past, if you're an astronaut, you have to take the test. Congress wrote the requirement in a way that said, if you're flying recreationally, you must be able to provide proof of passage of a knowledge and safety test for a recreational user. It didn't give any path for an exemption to that. So if you're a Part 107, if you're a commercial airline pilot, you have to take that test. There's no age requirement or restriction either. So, parents can obviously help their child take the test, or any supervising adult should be able to help, but no age requirement like what we see with FAA registration. At least that's what's been discussed so far, unless the FAA changes that somewhere down the road.
Very good. Well, guys, obviously this is still fresh information. We've got a lot of reading to do to make sure we've got all the information that we have and can pass it on to you. But we wanted to let you guys know that this is something that came out today and get you guys as much information as we have now. Tyler, is there anything else you want to share with the viewers before we take off?
Yeah, I'll respond to Douglas Hart. 250 grams, no, you will still have to take the test. 250 grams is the threshold that exempts you from FAA registration and will exempt you from remote ID. But regardless of weight, all weighted unmanned aircraft have to follow all other rules besides FAA registration and soon FAA remote ID. But following CBO guidelines, taking the safety and knowledge test, all of those things will be a requirement regardless of weight of aircraft.
All right. Well, that does it, I think, for this breaking news edition of AMA Air. Tyler, thank you for taking a couple minutes out of your day to come in and tell us a little bit about what's going on. Of course, if you guys want to stay up to date with any of this information, modelaircraft.org/gov is the place to go. That's the government blog for the AMA Government Affairs team. They update that thing pretty regularly, so be sure to check that out as often as you can. And of course, as we learn information, we will be bringing it to you here, whether it be on AMA Air proper or in these breaking news editions of the show as well. So, Tyler, thank you so much for coming on and sharing what you know.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
No problem. And I thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you around next time here on AMA Air.